Hello friends, welcome back to our channel Always Change Yourself. In today's class, we are going to discuss mind map of reproduction in organisms. So without wasting any time, let's start. The first topic in this chapter is about lifespan. So what do you mean by lifespan? The period from birth to the natural death of an organism represents its lifespan. One of the most important points about lifespan is lifespan of organisms are not necessarily correlated with their size. It means if two organisms are similar in size, then it is not necessary that these both organisms lifespan are also same. As for the example, the size of crows and parrots are almost same, but the lifespan of crow is 15 years, whereas the lifespan of parrot is 140 years, which is a large difference between their lifespan of these both organisms, whereas the size are almost same. Next, what do you mean by reproduction? रिप्रोडक्शन एक ऐसा बायोलॉजिकल प्रोसेस है जिसमें एक ऑर्गेनिज्म या फिर मैच्योर इंडिविजुअल यंगमन्स या फिर ऑफस्प्रिंग को जनरेट करता है विच इज सिमिलर टू इटसेल्फ. नेक्स्ट, टाइप्स ऑफ रिप्रोडक्शन. देयर आर बेसिकली टू टाइप्स ऑफ रिप्रोडक्शन. First one is asexual reproduction and second one is sexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, single parent is involved, so it is uniparental. But in sexual reproduction, mostly biparental, but few uniparental in the case of hermaphrodite. Example of hermaphrodite are earthworm, and in the case of bisexual plant, example of bisexual plant are mustard, brinjal. Next, asexual reproduction are also known as gametogenesis because there is no formation of gametes takes place in asexual reproduction. But in sexual reproduction, formation and fusion of gametes takes place in sexual reproduction. Next, types of asexual reproduction. There are following types of asexual reproduction. The first one is fission. Fission is a mode of asexual reproduction जिसमें एक मैच्योर इंडिविजुअल दो या दो से ज़्यादा इक्वल साइज डॉटर सेल को जनरेट करता है. देयर आर टू टाइप्स ऑफ फिजन. फर्स्ट वन इज बाइनरी फिजन एंड सेकंड वन इज मल्टीपल फिजन. बाइनरी फिजन में एक मैच्योर इंडिविजुअल दो इक्वल साइज डॉटर सेल को जनरेट करता है, फॉर एग्जांपल अमीबा एंड पैरामेसियम. नेक्स्ट, अबाउट मल्टीपल फिजन. इन मल्टीपल फिजन न्यूक्लियस डिवाइड सेवरल टाइप्स बाय एमाइटोसिस. न्यूक्लियस डिवाइड सेवरल टाइम्स बाय एमाइटोसिस. न्यूक्लियस बहुत बार एमाइटोसिस के थ्रू डिवाइड करता है और बहुत सारा न्यूक्लियाई का फॉर्मेशन करता है विदाउट इन्वॉल्विंग साइटोकाइनेसिस. उसके बाद प्रत्येक न्यूक्लियाई गैदर अ स्मॉल अमाउंट ऑफ साइटोप्लाज्म and is separate from mother cell and finally it develop into adult and start a free living. For example, plasmodium and monocyst. One of the most important information in this whole mind map is the underlying example are most VVI, so you can recall it definitely before going to any exam. Next one is fragmentation. In this type of asexual reproduction, the mature individual divide into fragment and from each fragment develop into new individual. For example, Hydra, Spirogyra and sea anemone. Next one is regeneration. So what do you mean by regeneration? The process of getting back a full organism from its body part is termed as regeneration. It means अगर कोई भी organism का कोई एक भी टुकड़ा कट जाता है तो उसमें वो कैपेबिलिटी होता है कि वो छोटे से टुकड़े से नए ऑर्गेनिज्म का फॉर्म कर सके. फॉर एग्जांपल हाइड्रा एंड प्लेनेरिया. नेक्स्ट, वी विल डिस्कस अबाउट बडिंग. देयर आर टू टाइप्स ऑफ बडिंग, इंडोजिनस बडिंग एंड एक्सोजिनस बडिंग. फर्स्टली वी विल डिस्कस अबाउट इंडोजिनस बडिंग. In endogenous budding, buds grows inside the organism body, and internal buds are called gemmules, and in gemmules archaeocyte cell present, and these cells are totipotent in nature, and because of this nature, that is totipotent in nature, archaeocyte cell form various cell and body because of this nature. So in this way from endogenous budding a mature individual develop. For example, a spongilla. Next, Exogenous budding. In exogenous budding, a bud grows from mature individual and finally it detaches and starts a free living. For example, hydra and yeast. Next, about a spore formation. So what do you mean by a spore formation? A spore formation. In a spore formation, the mature individual produce hundreds of minute spores, and the spores are formed in a sporangium. When a sporangium bursts, a spore released into air, and when favorable climate occurs, is generated and produce a new individual या new plant. It is common in Monera, Protista, algae and fungi. ये सब ग्रुप में आपको जनरली देखने को मिलेगा. For example, zoospores of Chlamydomonas and Conidia of Penicillium. Next आता है vegetative propagation. In vegetative propagation, plants are propagated through vegetative parts of plant. Vegetative parts of plants such as roots, stems and leaves. There are two types of vegetative propagation. First one is natural vegetative propagation and second one is artificial vegetative propagation. In natural vegetative propagation, by leaves, bryophyllum and calonchi. These two are the most important example. There are various other examples which are not important, so we are not taken in this mind map. Next, by roots, Dahlia asparagus. Next, by underground stem. In underground stem, by rhizome, ginger, turmeric. Then by corm, gladiolus, colocasia. Next, by bulb, onion, garlic. Next, by tubers, potato. Next, by root tubers, sweet potato. Next, by aerial stem, opuntia. Next, by bulbils, Azabe, discoria. Next, by sub-aerial stem, runner. By runner, grasses. Next, by offset, pistia, Isonia craspis. Isonia craspis is the scientific name of water hyacinth. Next, by sucker, mint and chrysanthemum. Then we move to the artificial vegetative propagation. The first one is cutting. In cutting, the first is a stem cutting. The example of a stem cutting is Rosa duranta. Next one is Rosa is the scientific name of rose. Then leaf cutting. Example of leaf cutting is Sansevieria. Then root cutting. Example of root cutting is Citrus and Tamarindus. Next one is grafting. In grafting, two plants are cut horizontally in this manner that they are jointed to form a new plant. For example, mango, apple, guava, etc. Next one is layering. Layering is mainly done in those plants which have long branches, with long branches also flexible. कहने का मतलब यह है long भी होना चाहिए और flexible branches होना चाहिए, उसमें layering होगा. Layering is done in those plants which have long flexible branches. There are two types of layering. Air layering, जिसको गुटी कहा जाता है. Example of air layering is citrus, lychee. Next one is ground layering, which is commonly known as moon layering. Example are jasmine and strawberry. So this was end of this lecture. नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में हम लोग सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन को डिस्कस करेंगे. उसमें हम लोग फेजेज ऑफ सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन, इवेंट्स इन सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन को डिस्कस करके और फर्टिलाइजेशन, पोस्ट फर्टिलाइजेशन इवेंट को डिस्कस करके हम इस चैप्टर को कंप्लीट करेंगे. आई होप यू एंजॉय दिस lecture. If this video is helpful to you, then please like and share with your friends and subscribe to my channel. So thanks for watching.